Hello, happy Friday, everyone. Hope we are doing really well. We're back to another Friday roast, and we're going to do something very different today because today we're going to have a live roast, which basically means someone is going to get live feedback. Because I always know when I've done the roast in the past, I've gotten a lot of great feedback and people really value it, but there's a lot of context that I don't know. So during today's webinar, we are going to have a marketing manager for a company called Moniker. It's a company who basically helps organize corporate retreats and getaways and so on and so forth. So we're going to loop her in, and we're going to see, you're going to be able to see now today how I give live feedback. She can ask any kind of questions. She can test me, challenge me as much as you want. We're just going to have a fun conversation. We're going to do that for the first 15, 20 minutes. And it's probably going to be really insightful because you're going to be able to see how I break down a website. And this is actually a website they're currently building. As always, I have, I have my rock star with me here, Louis. And what I always tend to say is, I want to make this an interactive webinar. For everyone who likes, comments, ask me a question, whatever, Louis gets a treat, which I know he deserves. Here you go, boy. So that's just something we're going to do to make it a little bit more fun today. All right. So we have a lot of people who's going to be attending today. We have almost 300 people who has RSVP'd. And I want to start straight away, jumping in with introducing my dear friend Stephanie. So hopefully this is going to go well because I've never done this before, but I'm going to let her into the stream right away.
Hi, Ed.
Steph.
How are you?
We're good. We're good. Good to see you again.
Good. Thanks for having me.
My absolute pleasure. You know, I always enjoy the chats that we have, and respect you very, very much for not only who you are as a person, but what you do in business as well. And this is going to be the first time we do this. So that's why I'm glad that it's you that is going to be brave enough to get feedback.
Don't ask me too badly, but yeah, I'm really just here for Louis.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah.
He's my number one sales technique to get people to like me. It's just him always. I would love just to start off with, can you just give a 10, 15 second intro to yourself and to Moniker?
Definitely. So I'm head of Moniker, sorry, not head of Moniker, head of marketing at Moniker. We are a Canadian-based company that predominantly works with remote companies organizing their retreats around the world. And we also dabble in incentives, so your top salespeople and such.
Got it. Okay. And how long have you been with them?
Roughly 7 years.
7 years. Okay. So it's been a minute.
Mm-hmm.
So what is very useful we're going to do today is I want you to ask me as many questions as you can think of and test me and challenge me, because previously when I've done the webinars, there's not really that much live feedback, which is why I think this is going to be super useful. And you're going to see now how we're going to break down the new website that you guys are building, what I would recommend that you do, and yeah, just make sure that we really give you as much useful information, because I know that you know how to actually design websites yourself.
Oh. No, but you have great feedback, so we're here for it.
All right, awesome. So the very first thing that I want to start with, I'm going to start sharing my screen here right away. But first of all, whenever we design a website, I always start with the goal in mind. So I'm going to ask you just a couple of quick questions so I understand what you're trying to do, and then we'll dive into to analyze the website. So with the website right now, I'm going to go and share my screen so we all can have a look at it right away. You should hopefully see it on your screen now, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Is it there? Yeah? All right.
Yeah.
So first of all, what do you want this website to do? This is meant to generate leads? Is this meant just for information? Is this meant for making purchases? Like, what do you want the website to do?
Yeah, so our ideal client that we're looking to attract is planning a retreat for at minimum 100 people, but typically it's between 3 to 500.
Okay.
More on the luxury side of things, our minimum budget is probably around 400K US dollars. So it's a very niche market in a lot of ways of being a remote company of that size or hybrid in nature. So I think ultimately lead generation. So if someone goes through it, they're looking for a company retreat planner or someone to help them with this large scale event. But then also indicating to them that we have the skill set in order to do that. Because a lot of the other competition in the field really realistically started around COVID, so 2 or 3 years ago, whereas we've been around for over 10. So lead generation as well as information gathering, I would say, for anyone that's coming across the site.
Cool. Awesome. And when someone is coming to the website, what is the typical ways they tend to do so right now? Is that through social media? Is it word of mouth? Are you doing outbound outreach? Like how do people typically come to the site?
We don't do as much on social media, just given the type of clientele that's looking for it. But a lot of SEO-based information type of posts of what goes along in retreats, team building, and such. So we built a lot of pages in that regard. Some posts within LinkedIn, and then paid ads as well.
Paid ads, yeah. I imagine that would be a very typical way since you have such a specific niche. Awesome. Okay. And so when people come to your website, here's the last thing that I have for you. Do people normally already know what this is all about and coming on here more for like validation, or are they learning like, is this something that could be relevant for us to do?
I think because it's such a large investment, like you're looking at hundreds of thousands of dollars for a company, most people that are coming across this have already at least have an indication that they're planning on doing a retreat. They might not already have the budget though for them to do it outside of themselves, because a lot of it, it'll be like, oh, you're head of HR, you're head of marketing, and the CEO has said we want to do a retreat, you plan it, but the kind of the enormity of a task can feel daunting. So ultimately, I think our clients will come knowing that they want to do a retreat, but not knowing how much the costs are to actually bring in a separate company or someone else outside of that in order to plan it.
That makes sense. Gotcha. Okay, great. So let's dive in a little bit. This is, if I understand you correctly, this is a website that you're currently like building, right?
Yeah, so I gave you feedback a couple months ago. So we did a couple changes. Because originally when we had started at the homepage, it's been in development for, I don't know, the past year or two, things have changed and such. And so the homepage really wasn't great in terms of demonstrating all the things that we can go through. So then we redesigned it in the past year,
right.
6 months or so.
Okay. I'm going to do one last thing here so we get our pretty faces off the screen a little bit better. Here we go.
Nice.
Okay, but this is really good. So to summarize what you told me here, the goal is lead generation. The audience who's coming to your website is very typically already planning some form of retreat or event, but they just want to figure out if they should do it themselves or go with someone they can hire to do it. And when they come to the website, we obviously want to tell a really good story about who can help them and get them on to request a proposal. Is that a good summary?
Yeah. I would say so.
All right. Let's have fun. This is like, get ready for the...
It's like nails on a chalkboard. Yeah. I'm ready.
Exactly. All right. Well, the very first thing that I see here when I land on the website is I always tend to start looking at this as though I am the user. That's the most important thing. Whenever someone gives feedback on the website, don't see it as what you like and what you prefer, unless you are the target audience. See it as though you are the target audience. So the very first thing that we see when we land on your website right now is this video. The video is very good. This is like so professionally made. You showcase like some of the experiences that you've organized. Beautiful imagery. This video is freaking 5 stars. So we're going to start on a positive note before we get into the dirty stuff.
Right.
So that's actually a really good start. I think that's very, very attention grabbing and pulls you in right away. Now, the next thing that I notice is you have here the first text people are going to read is plan a remarkable retreat. For me, when I read that, I actually make the assumption that I have to do the planning. And that to me probably doesn't give you the best hook right away. The first 10 seconds of your website might be the most important part of all, because that's where you have 100% visitors, and probably around a big majority here decides, do I want to stay further on this website, or am I too busy to go and do something else? So that's why I think it's very important here that you have a very good hook instantly when you land on the website. And right now we have a message here that says plan a remarkable retreat. I don't see how that is a value proposition specifically for me. That's just like, I'm going to do that. I'm going to have to do that. So this kind of, to me, I read this as I need to do a little bit of work. And that kind of increases the value of what you offer in a way. So the way that I would tweak this, I would want to make it a little bit more action oriented and say what they're avoiding and what they are getting. So if you have those two ingredients in the first hook here that we're going to have, the first initial message, avoid the hassle of planning, let us create a remarkable experience for your organization. That is something that I would start with, I believe. And then we have the subheading. What you have in the subheading right now is okay, but I don't think it's the ideal thing. I would rather have something that again showcases or explains how do you do that? How can you help me get the best possible retreat ever? Right now, these are good examples, but I would put this just a little bit further down the page. It is good, but again, a little bit further down the page.
And I have a question. How much do you prioritize like SEO in H1 and H2s versus like an intention grabbing hook?
Yeah, very good question. So I am not the absolute best to give that answer, to be honest. I focus very much on the actual user experience. SEO is something that we always tend to optimize for a little bit later. But what I would say though is there is so many cool AI tools that you can use these days that will help you create the perfect message that also is SEO optimized. ChatGPT can do that, for example. So I don't want to give you the wrong answer, which is why I'm a little bit hesitant to say that. My main priority is, before we focus on SEO, let's make sure that the website is top freaking class. Then we need to, of course, find the balance there, since that is your strategy. But yeah. One last thing that I would add here is I am a first-time visitor to your website, most likely. And that means that I don't really know your company that well. So when I look at your website right now, I have no idea if I can trust you. And bear in mind, the people that you're trying to attract, they are being solicited all the time. They say that the average American goes through more than 150 websites per day. So with all of that influence, all of those kind of solicitations, it makes it really hard for me to just like stay here and climb the tree to get to the fruit. So that's why I would highly recommend, having done my research on your company now, you are an award-winning company. I would have something that right away proves that you are established, experienced, and I'm likely going to have a good, pleasurable journey if I would choose to work with you. So if you have like an icon of an award, if you have some a positive review, like something that just right away makes me go, okay, people seem to love working with these guys, and plus they're creating a really cool experience. This is probably going to be something that I want to stay in a little bit more about. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. Another last thing that I actually heard, there was a guy who was something called a CRO expert, conversion rate optimization expert. Companies hired this guy, and this was like big companies. They hired him, and he charged like $50,000 for his consultation. The very first thing that he did whenever someone hired him was to change the call to action to green. It's like the simplest thing in the world, but he saw an average of 9% increase in conversion when he did that. So
yeah.
Right now, again, I do understand also for it, like it's like transparent, so you see the video a little bit better, but that could just be something to bear in mind at the very least for the call to action in the top right corner.
Okay.
Yep. So let's keep scrolling down the site now. A little bit further down here, you do a lot of things that I like. So you have As Seen In, Bloomberg, Glassdoor, so on and so forth. That builds a lot of trust and credibility. You also have this here. These are clients, I assume?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is also really good because here you have super impressive brands that you've been working with. NASA, PwC, Coca-Cola, super impressive. So this builds a lot of trust and credibility. So this stuff here is great. Keep doing that.
Makes sense.
Now, here we're going to get into something quite interesting. So I always tend to say this: storytelling is a freaking art in a lot of ways. Most people, when they design their own websites, unless they're really good at storytelling and copywriting, they're gonna have a very poorly told story, which means that people are not that pulled in and excited and engaged, and they drop off. So the way that most people tend to do it is so much me-oriented. Hey, this is what we do. Here's our services. Here's our background. Here's our staff. Like, it's all about them. And I always tend to hammer this to clients that I work with. Don't build a website where you just talk about yourself. Do like at least 50% where you talk about the transformation that you're helping deliver to your client. Make sense?
Yeah.
When we now scroll your website, I see that the first thing that you do here is great text and information, nothing bad with the text and information, but you're just talking about you here. The way that I recommend doing it is the hero section, this here, that should hook me in. That should make me want to stay and learn more.
Yeah.
The second thing that we do is we talk about what is the transformation, what is the result, what is the positive outcome that I could get from working with you. And if I am very attracted to that transformation, then I want to know, okay, how will you help me get there? What is your company background? Like, then we're going to get into this kind of stuff. But right now, your website is a little bit like, you go to a dinner party and someone just talks about themselves. That's a little bit what you do here.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. The counter argument is obviously like, well, why would I go to your website unless I want to know more about you? But still, you can present that in a way that pulls me into the story rather than this all be all about you.
Yeah.
So what I would change here is I would have a section where you talk about here's what our clients get when they work with us. And then I would list some of the challenges, pain points, like, oh, I need to organize all the hotels. I need to organize the flights, the activities. I need to make sure that we have like who's going to be there, who's going to be not, people having allergies, like all of this stuff. There's like, Jesus, there's so much I need to bear in mind if I'm now going to plan this retreat. And then you showcase, here's the problems we get rid of for you. And here's the outcome that you get instead. And lastly, add, again, these stats here are really good. It makes sure that you come across as an authority. You're very experienced. You have a big team. You've organized a lot of retreats. But the problem is, like, it's all about you. What kind of results can you give me? That's what I think a lot of people would be interested in. We're going to save you X time. We're going to, we have, our clients report X amount of increase in engagement from their staff, or like, again, you probably know better what the ROI for a good retreat is better than I do. But this is just me with my psychological thinking here, thinking, how would I do that a little bit differently? So that's what I would add. That's what I would add here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Questions?
No, I think we covered that because it's authority building. But would you keep those on a different page of those type, like on an About Us page, and then just focus more so on the client than in this section?
This section here I would keep. I would just push it further down.
Okay.
Because again, it's so funny to me whenever we build a website, we launch it, we run analytics, and we see how it's working. It's super clear. The small details make a super big difference. The color of a button can have up to, again, 9% difference in conversion rate, as I mentioned before with that guy. So like all of these small details might sound like, but who gives a care? Like, or who cares? Can't you just scroll a little bit further? Like, sure, but you are wasting your visitor's attention span. And, in this day and age, aren't there even like people who say that we're in the attention age? You go through that industrial, informational, these different eras or ages. Like right now, we're in the attention span age. If you're wasting attention, you're losing business. Is a lot of people say.
Really long one. Does that Webtec? Do you guys use Hotjar or those types of add-ons and plugins in order to figure out where people are utilizing their time on the page?
Yes, great thing to use. Again, it also depends. There is a level when it gets worthwhile to do it, because if you have 100 visitors to your website per month, I don't know how accurate that data is going to be.
Yeah.
But if you're going above 1,000 visitors per month, then it's getting really useful to have that kind of data.
Cool.
Sure. All right, let's keep going down a little bit further here. So past corporate retreat examples. It's not just a retreat, it's the most important investment in your people. Very good message. Here again, you do something really well. So I feel like you're mixing some very good parts with some lesser good parts. To be nice,
it's really a compliment sandwich here, Ed.
Yeah, it is. It for sure is.
Thank you.
But again, and this is just to be expected. There's no website that is only good. There's always good parts and bad parts. So here you now have some videos of some of the retreats that you organize. Again, very, very good stuff to have. Because if I would hire you, I want to see what has people experienced, what has been like in the past. So stuff like this is excellent, and it's a good place to put it as well. How would you like to engage your team? Okay.
Those lead off onto specific pages for corporate treats incentives.
So a few things that I noticed here right away. The messaging itself was a little bit confusing to me. That's why I spent a couple of seconds reading it really carefully. Yeah. But essentially what we're going into here is what you offer.
Yeah.
Right? I would tweak that a little bit here as well. How would you engage your team? That just led me to a whole different line of thought. I would just say, here's the kind of events or retreats that we can help you facilitate. And then we have corporate treats, incentive trips, and then here's another thing. I don't even see what it says here. Oh, company all hands and SKOs. So stuff like that, you need to blur or darken the photo in the background. Otherwise, I don't even see what this reads. You see that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Small, though, again, sounds like a small detail, but that's going to be a lot of people who gets a little bit annoyed with, and it just doesn't look like you're that professional when you have those, even if it's a small little mistake, but it has an impact for sure. What I would do here, and since I know you know how to do this, when I hover above this box, I would highly recommend here that you add some text to explain what is an incentive trip. Because again, that gives me a little more context and it helps me pick which one I want to learn more about. If I now pick something that is not right for me, then again, we have a negative experience on the website, and that's going to make them far less likely to go back, click on a new one, see if that's going to be right for them. So that's why I always tend to make sure that make it as easy as possible for people to make the right selection. That's a very easy thing to do there. Okay, what can we help with? So here now, again, this is great information you have here. I just think that the presentation here is not extraordinary. the whole screen right now is text. There's pretty much never, unless your target audience is academics, then I wouldn't recommend doing that. Academics like to read. Everyone else wants more short pieces of information in like snippets almost. And also, there's no interaction here. There's nothing happening. There's like very stiff, stale.
I've done this before where it's like a slider and then there's like bubbles and stuff.
Yeah.
We can't show this on the screen, but is that what you think it would be? Is more like picture based with kind of like headers and text and then things that like slide through?
Yeah, definitely. So again, great information, but the packaging here is unattractive.
Yeah.
So that again means like, I'm going to read this one and maybe this one, and then I'm not going to read anything more because it just doesn't entice people. So the world of successful websites these days really comes down to get people's attention and present that in an attractive way. Otherwise, you're going to lose a big portion of your potential business, like your potential clients, essentially. All right. So plan unforgettable offsite. We have here a couple of award-winning services. So these are like what makes you different, unique, right?
Yes. Sorry, that was a question? Yes.
You are waiting for me to say, oh, that's what it is? But this is,
are you saying that we should have a header that says, what makes us different?
Yeah. Like, I feel like this here, we've kind of already said that. You know, we already said that higher up here. So I don't know why that would be the heading in this case. Some great photos. We do have this here. We can see where you plan events. Again, nice and interactive. I really like this. It's great. And then, okay, here is the thing that we should have pretty much straight under the hero section, the first thing we see on the website. This is great, and I'm going to use this to show to other clients in the future because you've done this so well. You've just placed it in the wrong place on the site. This comes far too low down, and you need to bear this in mind. Where we are right now, very few people are going to go here. Because people lose their attention. Like 100% of people are going to be up top, and then it's a funnel. It gets less and less and less and less and less and less. So the further down you put information like this, the less likely it is that people are going to see it. So right now you have managing a retreat by yourself can be overwhelming. Moniker make it effortless. Very good. Planning a retreat by yourself, yeah. So I think everyone gets this, and this just makes it so much more appealing to go with you rather than trying to do everything myself. So this is good. And then you have how it works. This is good as well. I like the effect here where I scroll to find more information. Some client testimonials. One thing that we recommend is you can take a couple of the testimonials and space them out throughout the page instead of having all the testimonials in one place. Because that basically reinforces, the more I learn about you, I see more people talking well about you. It's not just a one-off section where you have all the testimonials. That could be another idea that I would recommend as well. You can have like just a small little bubble that lies on top of a photo, for example. You're in good hands. And then here we have your blog. Okay. So as I go through this, there's a couple of things that I notice. Overall, you always need to bear in mind that there are blind spots on your website. There are things that I'm more likely to see, and there's things that I'm less likely to see. I am far less likely to look at the menu. I might look at it once, and then I'm going to start scrolling, and then I'm never going to look at the menu again. And in the menu is where you have your call to action. So as I now scroll through the website, what I would do here is I would also place a couple of call to actions here and there. Because I'm going to look at the center of the screen. I'm not going to look up here. And you find out like, oh, this actually looks really cool. And then here, get a free proposal. Yeah, then I might click on it. So you want to make it, again, as easy as possible for people to convert on the site.
Yeah.
So place out a couple of different call to actions. Another thing that I also would recommend is gamification is something that every single app in the world tries to do these days, and more websites are trying to do that as well as we're also. So I would try to add something here, a call to action. You can have two different call to actions. One that is the primary, get a free proposal, and a secondary, maybe it's just like capturing the contact information so they get on your newsletter or something like that. I would recommend having another call to action, which is like not sure where to start. Take our quiz, and we'll recommend and we'll create a free itinerary for your next retreat, or like something like that.
Yeah.
Because that, again, like there might be a couple who fill it out that is not right for you, but that's always the game of business. You're gonna have some that is not relevant, but then you're gonna get a lot of more opportunities that actually will be really relevant. They might just don't want to do the formal thing of applying for a proposal. So I think overall you have a very good, like you're in a very good direction. I know that a lot of people would tell me, why such a long scrolling website? That's some feedback that we get on some websites that we create. But I think you're doing the absolute right thing. We always see that when you can keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, it's far more likely that people stay longer on your website. They know that the menu is going to be up top anyways. So if they know specifically what they're looking for, they're going to go there to find that information.
Yeah.
So you have a lot of good things here. You have a lot of good content. You have a lot of good messaging. But the storytelling is not in a logical sequence, which I think is going to confuse a lot of people. And that means that like they don't really see the value. They don't really see all the stuff that you can help them with. And then they just drop off because they're busy people. And yeah, I would want to make the website a little more gamified. Make it interactive. Make it like pull people in to explore your solutions a little bit more.
Yeah. Cool.
Is this helpful?
Great. It was.
Yeah.
It wasn't as roasty as I thought it was. there was some compliments in there.
What would you say is like, if there's one question you would want an answer to when it comes to the website, like one problem you would like to solve? And don't just say more conversions. Like there goes a lot into that. But like, what is the main struggle you would say you have with the website?
I think we talked about this before, but I'm really good in terms of like designing and making something look nice, but the actual copyright of the main headings, essentially what you've gone through and helped with in terms of what's more attention grabbing. Does this make sense when someone reads it? What does this indicate? That sort of thing, the actual wording.
Yep. I totally get you. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to bring something up on the screen. I found this amazing Twitter thread a while back ago, which basically walked through a guy who did messaging for more than 1,000 websites. Some of them are like really respectable companies like Airbnb and stuff like that. And I took that Twitter thread and made that into a PDF. So anyone watching this, if you would like to have this PDF, let me know. I will just reach out to me on LinkedIn or send me an email or comment here. We read all the comments, and I'll send this PDF to you. I'll give you here a little bit of a taster for it. It's not the sexiest PDF in terms of design, but here basically goes through how do you write really attractive, compelling messaging on your website. Again, here's what I followed in the beginning: have a bad alternative and a better solution. So in Airbnb's example, stuck in sterile hotels, don't experience the real culture. That's a bad alternative. The better solution is stay in local homes, and then you tweak that into an action statement. Experience new cities like a local. This PDF here, let me know. Again, comment your email address and I'll send it to you after this webinar. I see here we have a comment from David Beck. You would like me to roast your website. Fantastic, I will do. So what I would like everyone to do here now who's watching this, please leave a comment on what you liked and what you didn't like about Stephanie's website. So it's not just my words. It would be great for her to give some feedback from other people, like what did you like? What did you perhaps agree and disagree with what I said? I'm always a truth seeker and want to improve what I do as well. So anyone who's sent any feedback for Stephanie, leave that in the comments. So she knows, she can get a more of a 360 opinion on her website. But Stephanie, thank you so much for being here. I'm going to kick you out and start roasting David's website now.
Okay, amazing.
No, but thank you.
See ya.
See ya. All right. So that was Stephanie. So now, thanks for giving me this little comment here, David. So David here wanted me to roast this website. I'm going to bring this up on the screen right away. Let's see. So now what I'm going to do for the rest of the webinar here. First of all, I hope it's useful for you to just see how I deal with someone live on a call. I'm going to go into the website now of David. Anyone who wants to be roasted, I'm all up for this. We have a couple of other sites I've already planned and prepared to roast. But David, let's dig into your website first of all. So David has this website here. It's called heladosarita.com. So this seems to be in Spanish. Since our audience is English, I'm going to change to English here. So again, I'm going to walk you through my process one more time. So what I always tend to do is I start off with thinking about who is this meant to attract and how are they finding this website. So you obviously here seem to be selling ice cream. It still says here, comparte tu alegría. That, since I know a little bit of Spanish, I mean, that means share your happiness. So I did click on English here. I see in the URL, we are on the English site, but it's still in Spanish. So that's one thing here. Bear that in mind, that is going to annoy a couple of visitors when they land. Right away, what I see is aesthetically very good. It's simple, it's clean, it looks modern. It's a very, very good start here. I just think there's a couple of things that we can do with the messaging. So I would say right away, a message here. In what you are doing, this is obviously a consumer-based product. Here it's a lot more easier to have vaguer messaging because like I see right away what this is. You don't need to say we sell ice cream, which is what I recommend in most other websites. Be super obvious what you do right away. Another thing that I would do here is I would instantly recommend that you have something to build trust and credibility. Bear this in mind. Most people coming to your website is there for the first time, which means that they don't really know if they found here something that is relevant, that is, has a lot of success and track record in the past. That's why I always tend to say, add something instantly. If you have Google reviews, if you have Trustpilot, if you have a nice testimonial from someone, add that somewhere in the corner. So I see it right away what you do. I see that people love your products, and that's going to make me far more inclined to want to stay and learn more. There's even a lot of cool plugins that you can add, which basically pops up in the bottom right or left corner. This says like, these ice creams are great. So it's like new testimonial that keeps popping up all over, but it's in the bottom left corner, so it doesn't annoy people. It doesn't really, it's not an in-your-face pop-up. It's just down there, and you see something moving, and you see how people talk well about what you do, in a sense. So that's one thing. We scroll a bit further down here. Again, very good design. Simple, clean, very, very visual, which is great. What I would do, though, is I would make you see, I have products here. I'm going to try to click products and see what happened. These buttons that you have up here doesn't really make too much sense to me. Specialties, cones, drinks, okay. Yeah, I would just say more what it is. Explore our catalog or something like that. Explore our variety of products. Then we go down here. Okay. All right. And that's it for the homepage in this case. So I still see that like a lot of this is still in Spanish, complementarios. So the website, the homepage is very simple and it's very clean. There's a lot more information that I would hear. I would add a little bit more about like where do you actually sell your products? Because don't make people climb around. Again, I always use that analogy. Don't climb the tree to get to the fruit. Tell people like what specifically, where specifically do you actually offer your services? Where do you sell to? I would also try to add a little bit more about the products. Like, again, I'm going to make this up because I don't know you now, but like they're free of the added sugars. Like add a couple of things that makes your product different and unique. And lastly, I noticed there's no call to actions here either. In your case, a very good call to action is obviously get people to follow you, because then you're going to be in their feed over and over and over and over again. And this is the kind of product where people probably often makes like impulse buying decisions. It's not like you plan in 3 weeks, in next month, I'm going to buy some ice cream. So when you have them on your subscribers list, whether that is on social media, newsletters, whatever that is, you can keep marketing this to them. So yeah, your website is okay. The design is very, very good, but the messaging is quite weak. But I do still at the same time like the simplicity. I click on the menu here and I see nothing shows up. So this makes me think that your website is probably not completed. Correct me if I'm wrong, David, but there's still some work that you're doing on there. So design-wise, you're on a very good trajectory. Messaging-wise, there's a lot of things that I recommend that you fix there. Add a little bit more of trust and credibility. Say a little bit more about what makes your products different and unique. Showcase where people can get a hold of your products. And then I think you're in a really good place. So hopefully that is helpful to you, David. Anyone else wants to be roasted, leave a comment, and I'm going to be right on it. So for now, I plan and prepared a couple of other different sites that I'm going to give feedback on. The first one is a site of a recruitment company called Progression. Here we are. So Progression is obviously since it's a recruitment company, they sell primarily business to business. That's who is paying them. That's who they charge. But of course, as a recruitment agency, you're also dependent on good job applicants. So I see here they have I'm looking for a job and I'm searching for talent. So we have these two different paths that people can choose from. So right away when I land on the website, let's dig in here. The first thing people judge your website on is the aesthetics. The aesthetics, I would say, is good. It's not amazing and it's not bad. It's good. I would even say like probably 3 out of 5 stars design-wise. I do like the simplicity. Are you looking for a job or searching for talent? So they start with a question, and this is obviously a question that most people are going to say yes to. With a recruitment website, here's another really good thing that is very unique in their case. A lot of the traffic to this website is going to be highly relevant. You never go to a recruitment website for fun. So this is going to be a question that people, when they read that and they think yes, then they have where they specialize: legal, IT, admin, account, staffing agency. Again, like, it's not a bad message, but again, it doesn't really make me go, wow, it's not something that is going to hook all people into like, I found a unique recruitment agency here. It's very, very generic messaging, I would say still. What we should do here instead is, since there are a gazillion different recruitment agencies in the world, have something right away here that showcases why you're different and unique. That's going to be very, very important. Again, I'm such, what do you call it? Like, I'm so obsessed about how do you capture that attention right away. So many people might be looking at this and 3 other recruitment agencies, and they're not going to spend a lot of time on your website. So if your initial hero message here is just generic, you're losing a lot of attention. Now, the next thing is The good thing is you direct people to two different paths. Either I'm looking for a job or I'm searching for talent. When I keep scrolling, here we have, again, design-wise, I would say this looks okay, not bad, not amazing. I do like that you have like different colors of the text that makes parts of your text pop out a little bit more. But overall here, we help you find the right job opportunity. Progression provides a broad range of hiring services. I'm reading this text, and yeah, what I would expect. It's not a messaging that makes me go that you guys are different and unique. This is what I would, if I would like go to a random recruitment site, I would expect to read something like this. So it's not very unique text that you have. I would say here we have a testimonial. Great. This stuff here, again, I would put something like this right here. So I instantly see, okay, someone has worked with these guys and they loved the experience. That's going to make me stay a lot longer on the website. I see there's only one testimonial as well. We help you find the right candidate. Okay, here we have another one. Here's our strengths. Again, these things here, I would also put a lot higher up. We need to bear in mind that this is a kind of company where you don't really need to educate your audience that much. Everyone knows what a recruitment agency is. Everyone knows what they're doing. It's not like, oh, is that what a recruitment agency does? So education is less important in this case. So stuff like this, I would put a lot higher. I would maybe even put them even right here. Here's our strengths. With culture, okay, get started search jobs. Okay, so I have a little bit of a sense here of the journey. Now, just because I want to provide a little bit more value, I'm going to show you a way of doing this that I think would be quite useful. So on this website, we see here, they specialize in legal, IT, admin and account staffing agency. What I would do now is, like most often, it's not like I'm looking for all those different things. So somewhere down here, I would say, what kind of position are you hiring for right now? And then you have those different things. So I can click on legal, I can click on IT, I can click on admin, and I can click on accounting. That basically means that I read how you can help me with what I am working on right now. Then right away, you have such more compelling and enticing experience for the visitor. So I would say overall, my kind of rating here on this progression website is, I think this is slightly above average website. I would fix the messaging. I would add video content. I would make it more interactive so that you get a unique experience when you go through the website, and it will build a lot more trust and focus on what makes you different and unique. There we have it. Hopefully this was useful. Progression. We're going to jump into the next one now, which is a company that is called Open Sky International. Here we go. So now, again, this is going to be great because I have not looked at this website for more than 5 seconds. So right away, we see here a background of like an oil rig, it seems like. It's very, very dark, however, so I don't see the colors really well. It's almost like they had it too dark, if you ask me. And now I see down here we have a rotating slider. Meet with us to success dream this. I don't know if this is just me. Leave a comment here if you're reading what I'm reading, but this message doesn't even make sense to me. Meet with us to success dream business. Okay. If this is the first thing that I'm reading on your website and is not even a properly put together sentence, right away here, I am probably out. You know, like this to me just makes me super worried. Like if you don't even know how to say what you do right away. We then have a rotating slider here with a couple of different, it all says the same thing. Yeah. So they have a rotating slider and it says the exact same thing. Oil and gas solutions, drilling equipment, work over rigs, mud pump. Okay. So they say a little bit about what they do here, but this is 1 out of 5 in the hero messaging. It's good that they have like, they keep it simple and clean and they have a photo in the background, but no one is going to be impressed with what they see here because of the broken English. Daniela Alonso just mentioned she wants to be roasted. Hang in there, Daniela. I'm going to get to you just after this one. But awesome that you're leaving a comment there. Sounds like Louis is going to get some treats, which is fun for him. Okay, so we'll keep going with this site here now. We have a menu up top. Let's just keep scrolling this site. Again, notice what they do here. They go straight into their mission statement, like we care about them. Sadly, this is just a hard truth. We do not care about your mission statement until we know what you offer, until we know that you can do something relevant for me. So many websites do this. My only justification for having the mission statement up here is if this website is purely for validation. Like if you are like responding to RFPs, requests for proposals, and people just come to your website to just make sure that you're a real business, then maybe that's okay. But I've never heard about this company before. I see here are different services. Okay, this is actually starting to look, this is looking actually up pretty good. It is still a lot of text. I would add the text when I hover above these, but this is actually making the website a little bit more fun and interactive. So this is at least better than what we saw before. I notice again some super small design details. The boxes here aren't really well aligned. Okay, so here they say that they have more than 5,000 happy customers. This must be a very well-established company. That's why I'm very surprised to see the messaging mistake they had in the beginning. So great information here. Design though is a little bit stiff and stale, I would say. I can see that this is a website that was really well made probably 5 years ago. Recent projects, again, good information. Oil and gas, supporting text. So I am getting a little bit skeptic whether this is actually a completed website, because they do say that they have 5,000 happy clients. But when I look at this here, supporting text, no one would put that out. And here we have, yeah, logo types. This stuff here push this a lot higher up. Because again, people would be very impressed to see stuff like that. And then here, developing first-class solutions for our clients. Watch video. Video again, highlight that a lot better and say, what am I watching in this video? I have no idea what I'm watching here. Okay. You see stuff like this. Obviously, everyone who's watching this webinar would probably agree with me. Either this is a non-completed website that there still has a lot of work to do, but this is not going to lift a lot of weight for you. It's not going to lift any weight for you. My prediction here, the way that I rate this is how likely is this to drive engagement? I'm going to give this a 0 out of 5. I don't think anyone is going to engage when they come on the site. So there's a lot of work to do there. Hope you take this the right way. I'm being very brutally honest, and this is just my way of trying to provide as much value as I can. It's not to be a jerk. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of things we can do to improve there. All right, so Daniela Alonso, get ready. I'm going to pull up your website. I've never looked at your website before. And we're going to see what we're working with here. So her website is canelamaquinaria.gt. I'm probably saying that horribly wrong. Okay, so let's dig into this here. I now am going to just do one thing. I see this as well as in Spanish. So I'm just going to do a quick little Google Translate here because I do know, semi-Spanish, but most people watching this are based in the US. So I'm going to translate this to English just to make it a little bit easier. So we're landing on your website right now. We see here right away that aesthetically, okay, I haven't shared my screen. Yeah, there we go. Aesthetically, very, very good. First of all, it looks like a very beautiful designed website. The first things that I see. What I'm looking at is my eyes are, first of all, looking at photos and bright colors. Then my eyes goes to the biggest texts that I see on the website. La fuerza del equipo. That basically means the strength of the team. So that doesn't mean anything. That's, again, a very, very fluffy message, I would say. In this case, your kind of website is probably not the website where people can assume what you do very, very easily. I would change this text to say, here is what we do. Here is what we offer. Then we see here Hyundai construction equipment. We have New Holland. Okay, so you have you're selling construction equipment, essentially. Beautiful design here. This looks very, very nice and modern. You have some stats, 8 years of support, 2K plus satisfied customers, 1K in equipment sold. Good stats information. This builds a lot of trust and credibility. Again, I've said it in the previous rows as well, and I say this to you as well. Right away when I land, add something so that I see that I'm likely at a credible company. Right now, there's nothing here that kind of reassures me of that. So yeah, I scroll a bit further down. Here's a couple of different categories of products, and then I'm at the bottom. So on your website right now, Daniela, you don't have anything that makes me know why you're different and unique. You don't really build a lot of trust and credibility more than those simple stats there. You have built a website that looks really nice aesthetically, but it's not very optimized for the way people use website in this day and age. Your homepage is very simple, like it's just as here, and now I need to click around to navigate to find more information. That used to work a couple of years ago. In this day and age, look at Twitter, X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, wherever you go, the behavior you're conditioned to do is to scroll a website. That's why I always recommend, like Stephanie's website, have a long home page with a lot of information, not too much text, but a lot of information where I can just see, maybe you're interested in this, maybe not, well, keep scrolling, and maybe you're interested in this. Oh, well, this is actually interesting to me. Then I click on that and it takes me to another page or part where we can learn more about that individual thing, if that makes sense. I would also just very quickly share with you a checklist that I tend to use when it comes to what should we say on the website. So here are 6 things. I use this all the time because this basically means that we know what we are saying that is good and what we're not saying that people probably are looking for. Design, you have a very good design. That's not an issue. That's the first thing. Say right away what you do. You don't really do that. I do know that the photos gives a little bit of a hint of that, but still, it could be a lot of different things. It could be repairs. It could be parts. It could be the whole machine. It could be a lot of different things based on just the photos. So that's why I would be a lot more clear with the first message that I read, say what you do. What specifically do you offer? Well, you do that fairly well. There's still more things that we can do there. Number 4, you don't do well at all. You do have the stats, but you don't really have a lot more else. That makes me confident that you're good at what you do. You don't say what makes you different and unique, and I don't know what it's going to be like to be a customer for you. So a lot of this thing, I assume now if I click see more here, we might dig into some of this. Yeah. Excavators, yep. Okay, so we have some product specifications that I can click into. But yeah, there's no way here where I see happy clients. There's nowhere where I see kind of assurance of the quality of your products and solutions. I don't really know what you want me to do. Yeah, you have a quote up here in the top right corner. Again, I would make that a little bit more apparent. And again, the very last thing that I would recommend is add video content to your website. It's such an important part these days. Like there's some very recent studies that says that 80 to 90% of the visitors to your website prefers to learn through videos rather than just text and photos. So you should definitely have some videos there. If you want, Daniela, reach out to me because there's so many ideas that I have for videos that I don't have the time to show you right now. But if you reach out to me, I'll show you a couple of more ideas there. So Daniela, design-wise is the absolute strength of your website. Trust and credibility, what makes you different and unique, that's where you're weak. That's what I would focus on. Again, reach out to me if you want any more ideas and inspiration regarding any of this. Okay, so we're almost up with a full hour. I had a couple of more sites that I wanted to give feedback on. One of them was this one here, Savies. Another one was Cactus Media that I had planned to give feedback on. And the very last one was silvermaples.org. All of these sites, I have so much good feedback and recommendations to you, but I'm going to reach out to you guys who RSVP'd. Since we're up to the full hour already, I just want to say big thank you to everyone who was here. Louis, come boy. I'm going to give my dog some treats. Thanks to all the nice comments and compliments that we got here in the comment section. Keep that coming through. Any form of questions that you might have. I don't do this to push sales and so on and so forth. I really just do this because I want to provide value and recommendations to others. And I think that karma is going to lead to business in the future. Louis, come on. Come on. Hop. Come. So from me and Louis, big thank you to everyone who joined the webinar. Here you go, boy. We are going to have this every single week where we do a roast of websites. If you have any website, a friend, your own website that you want to nominate, please do so. And I'm going to do my very best to give the best advice and recommendations for how you can take your website from being mediocre to absolute world class. And I hope this was useful for everyone attending. Thank you so much. Have a phenomenal weekend. And next week, if you go to the events, there's a new one next week. Nominate your own website, and I'm going to do a roast for you there completely for free so that you know what you do to improve your website. And we're going to have another guest next week who is someone who was an initial attendee at this webinar who said he got so much value. And now it's going to be a guest where we're going to roast one of his websites once again. So if you want to see that, sign up for the next event, and I'll see you.